Motivators Table podcast with a huge guest, Mr. Stephon Williams. Thank you for coming on. Chat, community, everybody stay tuned. This is going to be a heck of a conversation. We're going to dive right in. We're going to make sure we understand where we're going. We're here to motivate, inspire, and get in front of our ugly and tell our stories. So, without further ado, we want to introduce Mr. Stephon Williams, brother. How you doing? Tell me a little bit about you. Tell me what you do. What do you do right now? And let's get into the conversation.
Well, Jay, before I even do that, sir, I want to give you your flowers.
Yes, sir.
I really appreciate your grind, the example you're setting out there, the word that you're spreading, bringing people to a different level of clarity when it comes to taking accountability for their lives, right? And moving through stress, moving through the life dramas that we usually see, and not stopping.
Right.
I really appreciate that. I support you. You see that already,
Yes,
and
sir.
it's an honor to be on your podcast.
Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate it. And before we start, this is live on LinkedIn, live on YouTube, and shout out to um, Los Angeles Tribune Podcasting for bringing me on board, making me part of their family in 2025. It's only way up to the top is now. So this is what we're doing. So I appreciate it. But go ahead, brother.
Okay. Well, I'm a retired Marine. I did 21 and a half years, and I did a lot of different things in the Marine Corps that dealt with leadership development, right? So when I retired in 2014, I had already started the business in 2012. It's called Having a Better Understanding, HABU, Leadership Development Training. And I've been doing that ever since. And my mission was always to change how leadership see people. Coming up in the military, especially the Marine Corps during the time that I came up, we was a lot thicker with the skin back then, right? But I seen that it can be done a different way, and I experienced a lot of different things. Instead of complaining, I really focus on becoming that leader that people will want to follow and be committed to by taking care of them, being competent, and setting examples, that was supposed to be set. So that kind of drove me to go out there in the world and start teaching it, start getting in organizations, getting people to understand people, bringing teams closer together, so that we can perform the way we're supposed to perform, right? So that's a little bit about it. And with me, I'm the type of person. Once we start to talk, and it comes out.
I love, definitely love that, what I'm saying, how you introduce yourself and how you are as a Marine. You know what I'm saying? I always admired that. I don't bring anybody on my table to sit up and pull up with me that I'm not inspired, but I'm always inspired to see, you know what I'm saying, about your story, how did you get in front of your ugly, about the dark days, how to understand who you are. Can you tell me how you was as a child growing up?
As a child, I was very quiet. I was that quiet kid, but I was very observant. I always watched people. I never really felt accepted, so I always kind of try to figure out my environment. So a lot of time alone, a lot of time with books. Really, I had solace in books when I was a kid. I was teased a lot because I was dark skinned, I was skinny, all these different things, and it kind of hit me real hard, right? And I had to work through it. One of the things that I would tell you after I began to defend myself against bullies and start to fight back, I started to fight back. And after a time, I started seeing people who reminded me of me, those people who couldn't speak up for themselves, those individuals who wasn't strong enough or brave enough to fight their bullies. I started to bring them together and defend them, let them know that they're being seen, that somebody's speaking for you, not everybody's bad. Power can, you know how we know this power can be used for good or bad. So I chose the path of good. So that has been kind of my driving force. So going through the ups and downs of trying to figure myself out as far as my identity, why I am who I am, I learned a lot of things. I learned a lot of things, and some of the things that I've learned is some of the stuff that I pass along to my clients and with my videos, moving through depression, dealing with anxiety, dealing with PTSD from the streets before I even got in the Marine Corps, not knowing what those things were at the time. The nightmares, the night
Right,
sweats, and all of that. I understand it.
right.
And finding solace and understanding in books about psychology, about dealing with your demons, facing your demons, healing your inner child through shadow work. I sought in different areas to find the true source of how I can regain my power and not allow my life to really just dictate who I am as a person because of what I'm feeling and what I receive from life. Well, then I was able to extract from that pain my purpose, which is to teach the things that I'm out here teaching right now. So I'm just walking in my purpose, sharing those stories of getting through hard things, getting through depression, how to deal with anxiety, like I said early on. So that's where I'm at now. And that's how I kind of work toward those things.
I love that, and I appreciate you just being vulnerable and telling your story. And we're gonna dig some deeper. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go closer to what the inner child is. And can you tell me how Stephon was as a little boy growing up? Like, can you tell me your characteristics? I know you was quiet, but
Right.
can you tell me, like, you know what I'm saying, what interests you as a child?
Well, being quiet, my driving force is learning, understanding, always trying to figure out who's around me, right? So because of the bullying, it made me go inward because I didn't have anybody to run to. I always thought, "Well, something must be wrong with me. Why did God punish me? Why did God make me this way?" Right?
Hmm.
But I never accepted my feelings of fear or lack to stop me from trying to find out and move forward to grow. So as a kid, I was always quiet, but I was always studious, and I like to talk and share with people that I could get close with. You know what I'm saying? So as a kid, I can just say I was a very curious, quiet kid. Very curious, very quiet. I didn't grow up in poverty. I had all the material things at the time, more than average. I'm a mother's, I'm a baby boy, I'm that baby boy, that mama's boy. I'm a mama's boy, My mother's love and my love, that kind of drove me as well because she was very nurturing to me. But other than that, man, I can just say quiet, observant, curious. The key word about me is curious. Just always trying to figure something out.
Love that, and being curious also is, I was like that as a little boy. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to understand my way in my life and growing up where I came from, and chat and community and new followers and old followers. If you don't know my story, you can Google it or you can look into it, or I can tell you a little bit about it. Growing up in California, Long Beach, California, mom died of age. She was on crack cocaine, lived on Skid Row. So that was very traumatizing for me. Like we talked about earlier, like we joined the military. I'm sure everybody joined with a little bit of trauma, and that's what our stories is about. But also, we didn't let that stop us. We just took that trauma and made it to our superpower, our superhero. We put our cape on, and fast forward now. Look at us as grown men. We done served our country. We done got a little bit of our education, and now we are here pouring into people, making sure people move forward. Motivation is just the first step. And I see you doing that online all the time. You know what I'm saying? I see you dropping your videos on Instagram. I see you on LinkedIn. So I'm proud of you and I appreciate you. And I remember the conversation we had when we first met. And thank you for just, what I'm saying, gravitating to me and always being in my corner and supporting me. You know, can you tell me about what you got going on now?
Right now, I'm just working on my spiritual platform, the coaching, the development side of the house.
Right.
A lot of things out here, to me, seem really commercialized. But when you have a large demographic of people that have the same needs, you have to be understandable and relatable to most people. So what I like to do is kind of bring people in, and I'm working on some spiritual development coaching programs, which it all goes back into knowledge of self. Who am I? That inner child, and take people through the things that I've learned that have helped many other people that I've coached over the years. So that's what I'm working on now. I'm developing it a little bit more. I'm still doing the coaching on the side. I'm still doing the leadership development training around the country and speaking here and there. So I'm busy, but I'm expanding.
I love that. I love that you're busy, and I love that you're expanding because that's all it's about. You know what I'm saying? I remember going through some hard times as an entrepreneur when I got out the
Very
military and my
different.
company failing, and just trying to find my way and my purpose back into life. And God removed all that, tore that all down, and said, "Hey, this is what I need you to do. Your father's a minister, both your grandfathers are ministers. I need you to speak life into people." And I picked up the mantle. Can you tell me how you start speaking?
Oh man, listen. Um, Now we can talk. uh, I'm a spiritual man, 100%. Since a kid, I've always felt things, heard things, seen things. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, so that's a very spiritual place. And because of that that solace that I was in, I found comfort in praying and stuff like that. I found comfort in reading the Bible, and I came up as a Christian, deep in the church. But because of my curiosity, it caused people to try to shut me up all the time because I asked questions, and I was, how kids stay in their place. However, as I grew, I still was asking questions, so I went on a search for knowledge, the truth. I asked God to teach me because I was going through a lot of different things that throughout my life. The way our stories are aligned, brother. You say you from L.A. I'm from New Orleans. I got in a crack game at 15, so that's 85 when it really close to coming out. The first time I got shot was in high school. The second time I got shot was the thing that made me change my life. However, with all of those things happening to me and me escaping death so many times, it let me know that something was on my life. It let me know that something was on my life. So, what happened to me is I gave myself over to spirit mostly. I had to experience the world to understand it. So I'm studying the world, but a lot of things that I was being told wasn't making sense to me. And I asked God, won't you teach me? And then I would set the example. And my life has been led by spiritual principles ever since, especially in leadership positions, and the things I've done in the military and out of the military have all been spiritually based. My ethics, how I carry myself, the things that I do. I share the word of the understanding of God in a I would say a more relatable way, and letting people understand what their responsibilities are when it comes to their spirituality, because there are many people that go to church and don't believe in God. I've met them. I've been behind the pulpit having conversations about theology with people who were pastors, bishops, and things. And when I say, why don't you teach the people the truth? They say they're not ready for it. And I say, well, that's manipulation. You're keeping them at a certain level of development. So I really believe in giving people their empowerment through spirit and let them know that we all have power within us.
I like that. I like the fact that you understand who you are and what you're doing. And I like the fact that it's mind, body, and soul here for me too. You know how I am.
Yes.
I can't get out here and I'm not doing it for the likes. I'm doing it for the impact. I can't get out here and motivate, inspire, touch, try to make sure that I get these people on the right track if I'm not putting that right back inside of myself, mind, body, and soul. So I wake up every day, I say my prayers, I meditate, I ground, I do my affirmations. Man, it gets hard. People think that motivational speakers like we just always stay motivated or
No.
we are no, it's hard. I cried today in my office.
Yeah.
It's like God, like just show me, am I doing the right thing? And
Yes.
it was a good text that you sent me, like, brother, you working so hard. I
Yeah.
admire, and I'm like that little bit goes a long way for me
Yes.
because I know that I'm grinding and I know I didn't put over 10,000 hours in my craft. I know that this is
I
what I'm
can see it.
doing.
It
Yes.
looks like more than 10,000.
Yeah, yeah, way more than that. Yeah, definitely.
I want to share this. Our purpose is birthed out of our pain. I say this all the time. When you start looking at your pain, that's God telling you, hey, you have a purpose here. You have to do something different. You got to address this pain. You're feeling it. That means that there are many other people feeling that same pain. So, what are you going to do? I believe everybody has a purpose. And I believe everybody's at different levels of development, but it always comes through the level of pain, of friction. Like we say, steel sharpens steel. So when life is sharpening you and you feel the friction, you feel the heat, it's not to break you. You got to figure out where's that coming from? What's the purpose of this pain? What are you shaping me into? Just like you might have a person that went through a lot of hard times as a kid, became a drug addict, really hard, been through the darkness, pulled himself out. Guess what they do? They go back and get other people and save other souls. You got people like us who are veterans who have seen things that most people shouldn't see, experienced things and levels of stress that really warp the mind. But then we get back out here and try to find our brothers and help them, sit down and talk with them, walk with them, be accountability partners with them, because we understand what they endure. So through those levels of pain, there's always a reason. There's always a reason for being. And in that season of pain, you experience it, you feel it, but you got to figure it out. And you can figure that out through spirit and through being guided the proper way, with how to live your life and understanding that there are energies that we deal with on a day-to-day basis that control a lot of our lives. Your thought process is an energy. Your attitude about different things is an energy. So if you don't know this, you can be saying things to yourself like how people say they always come in threes, and they break down and they start to basically curse their lives by saying something else is about to happen. Instead of saying, you know what, there's something here I need to learn. Maybe I need to slow down. What are you trying to tell me, God? I keep running into the same scenario over and over and over again. Where is it that I'm missing the point? That's why I share this prayer with many people. God, give me the eyes to see what I need to see, the ears to hear what I need to hear, the mind to understand it all. Make it simple, make it clear. And I say, and I ask for guidance on what I'm going through. And I quiet myself and then I listen. I pay attention. And listening and paying attention, not just in with my ears and my eyes, but with my intuition, what I'm feeling when I'm around people. Like, hey, every time I'm around these certain people, I'm off. I curse. I'm doing things that I'm trying to stop. Their energy is impacting me. When I'm not around them, I'm good. But people have a hard time making the decision on choosing them over the group. And because you choose the group, you don't know who you are because you haven't shaped your identity. So you're a little bit of this person, a little bit of that person. You have been split by people that you're trying to impress that are pulling on your spiritual energy that makes you feel that some people, not all people, this is just an example, something's wrong with my life. I say, look, check your garden, find the weeds. Who's choking off pieces of your life?
Exactly. I
One of
love.
the biggest things that I see with us people coming up with a lot of, and I'm just not saying us, I'm just saying us as a people, coming up to family trauma, and you're being told to suppress all of that family trauma to an adulthood. And when you finally get to this point, you spaz out, you blow up, and nobody knows what's going on, right?
Right.
Nobody can take responsibility what Uncle Jake did you. Everybody knew what happened with Samantha and them at the picnic, and that same person is allowed to travel in these families, and we start to look at this functionality and it normalizes. But
Mm,
who's teaching us how to get out of it?
exactly.
Nobody wants to read. We got to get in our mind. We got to open our minds up, man. It's so much information out here now. To me, it's a playground because I used to go to the library and sit for hours. Now I can just reach here and pull knowledge, executive summary this, pull this together, synthesize that. But people have become lazy. They want short little burps. They don't want to read, but they want to complain about their problems when the solution's right there. They used to say, you want to hide something from an ignorant person, put it in a book,
Put it in
right?
a lot
In
of
a
people.
book, But
Our,
again,
our
hey,
culture don't we don't even
yeah,
you talk to our culture, and I'm gonna get on that real quick. They'll tell you education don't matter, and I beg to differ. I beg to differ about that because it's who stays the longest, who wants to learn it, who wants to understand it. It doesn't matter where it's being obtained from. At least you're reading. At least you're understanding the rhetoric, how to pronounce it, how to talk. We got to get out of that education. It's not cool. Yes, it is cool because when it gets you in that room, you know how to articulate and swim around all them different type of sharks. Because guess what? I know hustling. But guess what? I know the language now of business because when I failed in business, I thought I knew business until I fell right on my face. So I went to go sit my butt down in that seat and read on how to get a master's. Got my master's of business. I'm not saying everybody needs to obtain that, but I can come back and teach the people that understand who I am, and it's each one teach one. I don't. A lot of people like us, we get what we need to get, but we don't come back and drop that knowledge back into where we come from. And I
yes,
always tell people, I say, listen, and I talk about it always at the end of my show, but it's the cow or the bull. You know what I'm saying? Like to cow or the bull both sense what problems and tribulations are coming, and when they're there, the cow runs from it and can continue to run from it, and always drags it down. My family ain't nothing. My heritage, my ancestors, my mom, my dad. But that bull turns around and say, no. I'm gonna go right through that eye of the storm. I'm gonna figure out this problem. I'm gonna figure out a solution, and I'm gonna come back so I can change my family's algorithm. And we're not doing that, and that's what I'm trying to do. And people, oh,
yes,
JR, you weird. I'd rather be weird to be dead in the
yes,
grave or be in
yes,
that jail doing that. You know what I'm saying?
yes, yes, man. This is you speaking my language.
Yes, sir. That's what we're here for. That's
You
we here to empower each other. You know what I'm saying?
and the thing about it is, there are other things that are operating against us when we're trying to do that, man. We have been conditioned to look at each other as competition. We have a scarcity mindset when it comes to how many of us can be here. You know what I mean? So when you're trying to work within a marginalized group that has been marginalized and conditioned a certain way not to connect, when you leave it and you excel above it and you can see it for what it really is, and you say, let me swoop back in here and save some of these people, you're going against culturally programmed dysfunction. They see you as a threat, not a savior. They see you as trying to look better than them because of what they're at. And that's one of the biggest things that we deal with. But here's what I believe in. When you educate people on the power of the mind, how it operates, how to influence it, you start to open them up to a level of curiosity. So you mean that's the reason I did X, Y, and Z? Yeah, you didn't pick that. That was picked for you. Hey, so I'm gonna share something like, have you ever heard of the wet monkey theory?
No, share that with me.
Okay. There were these scientists that they were doing this experiment, and they took 5 monkeys and put them inside the cage. Inside the cage, they put a staircase, closed the enclosure, attached a bunch of bananas to the top of the cage. Over the period of time, one of the monkeys got hungry and said, hey, look, I'm about to go get those bananas. Unbeknownst to the other monkeys, the scientists were standing around a cage with ice cold water hooked up to fire hoses. The monkey goes there, steps on the first step, second step, third step, but as soon as he reached and almost touched the bananas, the scientists sprayed the other 4 monkeys with cold water and they scattered, scared the monkey. The monkey jumped down. It's like, man, why are y'all wet? He said, we don't know. He said, wow, man. And everybody chilled out. The monkey's trying to dry themselves off, still trying to figure out what happened. The monkey said, listen, I'm hungry. I'm going back up here and get these bananas while y'all dry yourself off. And then they looked at the monkey and said, well, I don't know. So the monkey went up there and they start paying attention to him. They're trying to remember what happened to him last time. So now they're climbing the stairs, and as soon as he jumped up to touch those bananas, they didn't get sprayed with cold water. The monkeys jumped him, beat him down. So he's beat up, and he's like, man, why did y'all beat me up? He said, well, we really don't know. So they take an original wet monkey and take him out, put a new monkey in. He says, damn, why you beat up and why y'all wet? They all say they don't know. He sees the bananas. He goes up, tries to touch them. Everybody jumped him. Even the monkey that got jumped him. They keep doing this. Second generation, third generation, fourth generation. Now, no other monkey experienced the ice cold water other than the first generation. But when you ask them, why do we beat people up when they try to take the bananas or touch the bananas? He said, we don't know. That's just how it is around here. And that's called mindless behavior. That's how cultures create things that people don't even know how it started, and it keeps a cycle of things going on. And we are dealing with those things, different levels of the culture. You can see it. I studied it. My most of my knowledge is on sociology, history. Just I'm really big into psychology and all the different things. I'm a profiler for this, motivations and things. Myers Briggs and all those are the things that interest me. So those are what I call my gifts, my superpowers when I coach people. I coach them from a holistic but science-based perspective. And what we need to do is teach. We need to teach people. When we go back, we got to do it differently because what's happening right now ain't working. We have to do it differently. We have to open their minds. You're an educator. I'm an educator. You got your own way of doing it. And I acknowledge that, and I'm proud of that, I watched it. I told you about I like your thing, the hood motivator. Go ahead. Question me. But you can't question my IQ. You see what I'm saying? You can't question what I've accomplished. So now it's a duality happening when they look, well, what is he? So that's what we have to do. Show people you can still be you and be intelligent. Make the
Exactly.
right decisions for your life, for your
Exactly.
family. Stop
Exactly.
being down on yourself. Start speaking yourself up.
Well,
Tell
that's
yourself, I'm gonna make it through it. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna make it through it. I feel everything that's hitting me, and then say, okay, what got me there? How can I stay from being there again?
right.
We gotta teach people how to alchemize their life situations so they can understand their purpose.
Exactly, and that's why I created the Hub Motivator, because it's also an avatar where I can go and create and be and not be judged. But also, I do welcome the judgment because I want you to stop right there. That's why I have a book out called The Elephant in the Room. That's why I got from the block to the board, because it lets you know that yes, I was born in the hood, but I didn't just stop there. I used all
Yeah.
that. I used all that trial and tribulation to get me to where I'm at right now. But also, I pay homage to where I came from because I never want to get to where I'm at so high up and forget my mother died of AIDS. My mother was on crack cocaine. My mama lived on Skid Row. All my uncles, a lot of my was in and out of prison. I saw gangs. I saw drugs. I saw all this stuff. I'm never gonna forget about that. I never was the kid to say, "Hey, you know what? I can't wait to leave my city and I'm gonna forget about it." I used to be embarrassed. But when I went through my hardest time after the army and after in entrepreneurship, God was like, start telling your truth. You haven't been truthful. You
Yeah.
didn't tell, like, I used to be embarrassed my mother died of AIDS. You know what I'm saying? I used to be embarrassed that my mom was on crack cocaine and I was born with crack in my, all these things. You know what I'm saying? I used to be embarrassed. Now it's my superpower because when I open up that story, it allows me to tell not only that, the military, the educational piece, the entrepreneurship, the veteran piece, everything that I'm doing now. So now it's like, joke's on you. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But listen, I commend you for that, man, because you're the one that got away. Back in the day, Michael Jordan was considered one of the man how he can jump and slam and like he's defying gravity. Fast forward to today, these guys make Michael Jordan look like, hey man, you just starting. They jumping over cars and things like that. You know, and they're really mid-air drifting before they come down and do something. Now, the thing about us, all we need is one to show us that it can be done, and people will start to change their standards. This is fact. This is science. There are things that we do now that back then we would have never thought was possible, but we had to see that one superstar like yourself. That one person say, I came from Long Beach. You know my story, my mom, how we came up. That could have destroyed you. But you made the right choices. You took the right steps. And those steps weren't easy. I know they weren't. They're not easy.
No,
You know,
they
especially when you're battling the stuff up here. You
right.
know, it's not easy, but look at where you are. So somebody who might be in a situation that's kind of reflective of what you've been through, or what I've been through, they say, you know what, if they can do it, I can do it. And that's the purpose of motivating people, saying, listen, you don't have to stay there. I've been there. I can tell you the steps of getting away from there. I can tell you what's going to happen with your friends because you're going to have to leave them.
Right.
You're going to have to leave your environment. You're going to have to take a risk and chance on yourself and do something for yourself that you do for everybody else. Because
Exactly.
life has taught you that you're not worthy of it. Give it away. That's
Right.
when people become people pleasers.
Come on,
You see
man.
what I'm saying? So, but
Talk
I
about
like to teach people this is why you do what you do.
it. Yeah.
Now that you know, you have an informed choice to make,
Right.
an
You got
informed
options.
decision. But you don't get those type of conversations in the barbershop. You're not gonna get those conversations at the bus stop, at the club. But you see people distracting themselves and everything else and pretending to be happy while they're suffering inside. You know.
Exactly. And
And we
that's
need people like you in here and I out here doing what we do in our different lanes. And
right.
we also need to show people that there's power in numbers.
Right.
There's no competition, it's complementing.
Definitely. And
You
we
know,
can
because
work together and cover
if
it.
it's for you, God is for you.
Right.
Nobody can take something from you that's for you. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm sorry I get a little passionate.
No, no, no. It's all good. Man, this is my birthright. You know what I'm saying? We go deeper than that. This is what God gave me. Both my grandfathers were pastors and bishops. My dad was a bishop, so I already know what time it is. I was just running away from it. I didn't think it was cool. I didn't think that I couldn't even hold that mantle. So God was like, "Hey, you don't have to be them. Be yourself. You can wear the Long Beach hat with the Jordans, walk in every room and shake that room up. And then when they do pull that on your back, yes, you're a veteran. Yes, you're educated. Yes, you know how to handle yourself. Yes, you know how to understand your rhetoric. Yes, you know how to articulate. This is what we do. You know what I'm saying? You could cast judgment all you want to. That's why I said there's no competition where we at. We gonna keep pushing each other forward because, like you said, if one of us can do it, all of us can do it. And guess what? When I kick that door down, and I'm kicking that door down right now, guess
You are.
what? I'm giving the little boys and girls that want to be or do something like me, that look like me, saying, hey, you know what? At the end of this year, I graduated my doctorate. Was it easy? No, it wasn't easy at all. But guess what? I wanted to prove myself right. And I wanted to prove everybody else wrong that, hey, you know what? We got some people that come from Long Beach, California, Compton, Los Angeles, Inglewood, all that, that look just like me, that got something to say.
Listen, you alchemized. You see what you did? You took that and used that motivation for positivity. It made you be the best version of you. Well, you're not the best because you're still growing, but it expanded you. And see, people need to hear these types of conversations. Take your pain and turn it into something for yourself. Take that pain and focus it on something that's positive. It's easy to take pain and focus it on the emotion and do something reckless and find yourself locked up under the ground, whatever you may be, when you could have controlled it. Take that pain, channel it into something that's going to take you out of a situation that you are not comfortable in and push you towards your destiny. You see, that's what happened with you. And I've been watching you, man. Before we even talk, we were just paying attention to each other. Like-minded people, like spirits, kindred spirits, see each other. Got on a conversation and then go the way we thought it was because that was spirit working. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not a traditionalist. Same thing. I used to hear it in the military when I was facilitating leadership stuff all the time. Are you a pastor? Because I wear suits and all that. I'm like, why you say that? Oh, just how you speak. And I said, do I sound real or do I sound fake? How am I speaking? Because I still have my lingo. I still code switch. It's kind of blending in the middle nowadays, but I am who I am.
Right.
I'm my own mode. I'm not a traditionalist. I'm gonna do it my way. I'm unorthodox. I might tell you a story, turn it in, and then I show you the spiritual pieces at the end of it.
Exactly.
I use my gifts, but those gifts came from always trying to prove myself
Right.
because people were always calling me things that I never was, and I'm like, where is this coming from? But when you have a purpose on your life, they gotta dim your light. Like one of my quotes in my book, Stephonism, says, "If they can't stand your light, you give them shade." And you give them shade by just doing you and don't care what they say. Even if you feel it, just do you. Because there are so many people afraid to do them because of what other people who don't matter going to say.
Exactly.
So if people start to learn how to channel that, say, look, don't worry about what they're gonna say. Just do it. Don't worry about your mom. Your mom ain't living your life. Your girlfriend from back, she might be right here and stop. And once you turn left, you're never gonna see her again. You
Exactly.
have to live for you,
You
but
got
you
you.
gotta live for a higher purpose. And God would use people in those different areas of the world using their pain as purpose.
Right.
They have to be taught the right way. It's not through fear,
Right.
scaring people into something. Don't scare me. If you're trying to scare me now, I think you're trying to play me.
Right.
Teach me, empower me, inspire me. Show me in your walk. Walk your words. Show me. Don't, because a lot of people talk more than they show.
Right.
Don't condemn me. Teach me how I got here.
Right.
We have to educate. I know I keep going back to that, man, because it's on my heart so hard. We got to educate because ignorance is dangerous.
Right. It is. It
Dangerous,
is.
man.
It is because a lot of us, a lot, like I said, a culture, they don't pitch it, and then if they pitch it, it's like, okay, go here to this certain situation. No, I think we should learn it all. I think we should understand it all because now we should have options on how we should grow and how we should teach our families and stuff like that. For 400 years, we wasn't able to read and write. You think I'm not gonna get on this stage and light it on fire because I know how to talk? I'm happy I know how to talk. I'm
Yeah,
happy I know how to articulate and pronounce
yeah,
these words. I'm happy I look the way I look because it's like, oh, you too, yes,
yeah,
yes, I'm a Avenger too.
yeah,
Yes, you know what I'm saying? You counted me out too. But
yeah.
I love having these type of conversations because this is a motivators table. This is where we come and we get inspired. And where do the motivators come get motivated? I want to sit you down at this table and say, you know what? Hey, look at Stephon. I'm proud of you. I see you pushing. I see you grinding. I see. Come on out that shadow. Come on out there. I see you doing the inner child work. I see you putting all your effort out there. I see you. And I can even let this week go by without even saying, you know what? Hop
Hit
on
me up.
season 3 with me. It's going on Spotify and Apple. Hey, let's show out on live and YouTube and LinkedIn. Let them know that, hey, my tribe is huge. This is where I'm inspired from. You know what I'm saying? So tell
Man,
me what you got planned for the future.
man, listen, constant expansion. That's all I can tell you. So I can't give you too much details, but constant expansion. You'll see it unfolding itself because it's working right now. I'm one of those people, hey, I go off into the cave, man, and do the work. I go off into the cave. When I go in that cave and come out, I'm not the same person that went in, and everything around me changes. So, it's one of those things, don't speak too fast, but know something's changing and something's actually coming, that's going to benefit many people. And it's going to be about teaching. It's going to be about teaching the principles the right way. Not to say that there's not the right way being taught. I'm going to say in my lane, in my lane. Everybody has their lane. I stay in my lane. And those who like what I say or like what I serve, they will eat and we will grow and we will expand. It's all about changing the culture. I've been changing cultures in organizations for years, pushing it. Now it's time to create the culture. And it's going to take people like you. It's going to take people like us, more of us, to be collective to really make the change in the world that's needed. And that's scary for some people, because it does expose you, but it's a necessary thing that needs to happen. We need to reach the people and pull them up. We need to pull them up, and that's my purpose, to pull them up.
That's what I talk about all the time. Is just pulling people up, activating them gift. We were told as kids, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I always go around now and I switch that up. How can I activate that gift inside of you? God gave every one of us a gift. And a lot of us are not using these gifts that God gave us because we rather use something on social media or we following trends. And it's gonna be harder for you because God never told you to do that. God not he haven't even gave you that gift. Matter of fact, you playing with somebody else's gift. Use your own gift and it'll be easier. And I found that out knowing that, yeah, I love security. I love that was a hobby. I was tactical in the military. I love being the presence and I love serving. God was like, I need your voice to serve. I need your
Yes.
baritone. I need your passion. I need
Yes.
your grit. I need your glory. I need everything that you have. You're my voice. I need you to put this out to you, to the people that's listening to you. There's a percentage of people that listen to me and they're gonna
Yes.
listen. And guess what? I'm not gonna lead these people down the wrong track. I'm gonna let them know my right from wrong. I'm gonna get in front of my ugly. I have a
Yeah.
speech like that all the time saying,
Yeah.
get in front of your ugly. Let people know already. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be, oh, life is not peaches and creams. You got to get in front of your ugly. You got to let people know, hey, this is what I did. This is what I did to bounce back. And how can I help you? And that's why I tell people all the time, this is it. You know what I'm saying? There's no other way. You have to be who you are. God gave you one life. I think you should take advantage of that. I think so.
Man, powerful message, man. And you're doing it. You're definitely doing it. And the key thing is this. I will share this with you. Because it don't matter who's listening, because it's about what I'm about to tell you. You see that doubt that we have that kind of just lingers around about our capabilities. It kind of comes to the front and goes to the back. Use that as a sign to jump over and do even be even bolder than that. You know what I'm saying? Because as you expand, you're gonna feel more pressure to pop again. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be an easy expansion, and entrepreneurship is not for the lighthearted. There's so many things that we have to control. And if we don't move, nothing happens, right? You got to get on those planes and all the traveling you do. That's energy that you're putting out there. That's energy. You going to this city, to this school, to this. You're putting energy out there. And because of that, you got to make sure that you put that energy back. Because when you start to tap out and feel a little bit overwhelmed, you start doubting yourself. Can I do this next thing? We have to understand balance. I remember when I was on that road hard, I was so happy. I loved it. Oh, get out and do my thing. And then when I got home, I'm just dead tired. I got on the plane, I fell asleep. I didn't even want to get off the plane sometimes. Oh, I had to go find my car.
Yeah.
I was discharging so much of that energy and I wasn't recharging. Then it started throwing other things out of balance, and I learned, hey, you know what? I got to learn balance, and for a person like you, and I see you're putting your imprint out here. And like I say, I'm proud of that, to see that. You got to make sure you take care of you. Like you said, this is the motivators corner, yoga, meditation. I know you work out already, we can't stop that. All of those things are necessary to keep that tempo so you can keep sustaining and growing like you're doing now, brother. I wish you nothing but continued success.
I appreciate it. Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's one of my routines. I meditate. I do my modalities. I have done ayahuasca. I have done both
I want
bufo.
to try that.
Man, it's a heck of an experience.
I want to try that.
I ground myself. I hug on trees. I
Yeah.
can't pour into anybody else if I don't pour into myself. And I'm very stingy now with myself and my time and what I do. But I do find myself sometimes masking my job and what I do to cover up real life depressions, real life PTSD, real life to meet TBI. People don't know that as motivators and people who teach and coach, I deal with real life issues. I still deal with a nephew that's doing 80 years in jail right now. So I'm his life coach. So I have a lot on my plate. But guess what? This is God wouldn't gave me all this to carry if He didn't know I could carry this. But I do take your word for what it's worth. I do slow down on Thursdays and do what I need to do to take care of myself. I was supposed to go get a haircut. I was supposed to go. I'm a Phi Beta Sigma. I was supposed to go do the festivities tonight and tomorrow. I just said, you know what? I can't go tonight. I'm gonna go tomorrow. I'm gonna get ready for the Martin Luther King Day parade. I'm gonna do our barbecue, our picnic, all that stuff. But I just can't do everything. I can't be everywhere all at once because next week I have 3 on stage presents, and then after that I speak at a college. So I have to be able to maintain that because if I lose my voice or my energy or get sick,
Yeah.
I can't go do what I need to do.
Yes.
And God
Yes.
is using me to touch all these people,
Yes.
but you got to take care of you.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
receive that, and I bring it in, and I
Yeah.
appreciate you for always looking out for me. You know what I'm saying?
And here's the thing, brother. That's not my word. I'm just the messenger. And I'm just the messenger. When I see you doing your thing, I say that's a lot of energy. I said, whoa, that's a lot of energy. I know what it feels like. But here's the thing: who, like you said, who talks to the motivator? Who calls the strong one? Who calls the resilient one that always get things done no matter what happens? That's our lifestyle. We don't have nobody to run to but us. So we take care of us. But then our level of dealing with stress and challenges is higher than average. you know but we're not taking care of ourselves, and that's a big problem. So pulling back, that's like with anything, you can't do too much of anything, because again, you can, what to say, short-term gains, long-term losses, because some people go, run up the hill, like, oh, wait a minute, you got to have a little peaks
A
and
balance, yeah,
it's,
definitely. You know what I'm saying?
plateaus, just like training, right?
Yeah, exactly. And too much of something is always bad. So
Yeah,
I
it's
try
poison.
to regulate all that stuff and make sure that I understand. And the motivators table, my community, the people that's
Yes.
watching, my new followers, my old followers, they appreciate you for coming on and thank you for
Thank
pouring
you.
in me and thank you for allowing me to even just be in your ecosystem. You know what I'm saying? People don't understand ecosystem is huge. An algorithm,
Yes.
like they think that the computer is all they control your algorithm. No, you control the algorithm of your life. You troubleshoot your own life. You recalibrate, and that's what we have to do along this journey, is able to recalibrate our life and understand who we are and love on ourselves a little bit more. And that's what I'm gonna tell you. You know what I'm saying? We always end at 45 minutes, 47, 48. But I'm gonna tell you right now, Stefan, love on yourself a little bit more. Understand, I'm proud of you. The world is watching, and be careful who you entertain because you entertain angels unawarely. That's what the Bible says. So know that you're doing the right job. Know you're doing it very well. Know that even me, I'm looking up to that situation. So I appreciate you. I see your message. I support you. Thank you for everything you got going on. What I want you to do though is tell everybody how they can find you on social media and give me a little motivational quote. You got a minute and a half.
Okay. You can find me on TikTok at the real Dareal Stephon on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram Stephon Williams. Just you'll see the hat and I think a jacket. You'll recognize me. My website is www.stephonwilliams.com. That's www.stephonwilliams.com. I have a couple of books on Amazon. Look them up. My first book is Stephonisms. My life, my experiences. So, far as a motivational quote, all I can tell you is this: nobody's going to do it for you. Prayer without actions is dead. You have to do the work. Instead of distracting yourself, you're going to have to face your demons, or they will forever haunt you. But just know there's light on the other side. Your purpose is found in your pain. Walk your journey.
I love that quote. And I love the fact that you put your passion and everything inside of that. And thank you for just coming and sitting down on my table. This is my season
Thank you for
three.
the invite.
It's
Yeah.
virtual, season three virtual. So I appreciate you. Thank you for just, what I'm saying, allowing me to just to enter your atmosphere and go from there. But I always leave, what I'm saying, my chat room with this and my viewers and my followers and my community. Hey, listen, we always talk about, and I always try to let you guys know which one do you want to be. There's two animals that God always put on this earth, that senses trials and tribulations, storms when it come. Two of them always, and that's the bull or the cow. The cow, it runs from the storm, and it continues to run, and it wonders why the storm is always following it. But the bull turns around and looks at that storm and face it head on, trial and tribulations, and say, "Hey, I can't take this to I can't take this to my generation no more. I can't take this from my ancestors no more. I got to be able to break the curse, the generational curse, all that stuff. I got to take it and I got to break it." And today today we are being a bull. We turned around, looked at that storm in the eye, and say, "You know what? The closest way out is going through that storm on the other side, so we can tell people how to get through it." And that's what we're both doing. And I appreciate you and thank you for sitting down today at the motivators table. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for being authentic. Thank you for being yourself. Thank you for just, you know what I'm saying, being the person that people need to hear. This is somebody needed to hear this. If it's one person, or if it's 1,000, or if it's 1,000,000, they need to hear it. And we appreciate you and thank you so much.
Thank you for the invite, bro.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Hey, motivators, mount up. This is why we came to do what we got to do. You know what I'm saying? We came here, we showed up, we conquered. All the motivators that's listening to me, you see it, you see what's at the bottom. Motivators, mount up because we coming. It's 2026. I appreciate you guys for tuning in to this channel, tuning in for just being a part of my system and my ecosystem. I can't wait to see you guys on the next episode.